ACT Party leader David Seymour is with me now. Hey, David.
Hey, Heather.
When you hear the prosecutors being told to think carefully about particular decisions where a person is Māori, what do you think that means?
It's disgraceful. We abhor racism. If New Zealand is based on anything, it's the simple idea that no matter who you are and how you're born, you get equal rights and a fair shot at life. It is absolutely un-Kiwi, and there's no way that you can apply it without applying in an individual case different treatment based on race. So Chris Luxon's absolutely right. They're independent, and it's ultimately the Attorney General who's in charge. I've raised this through staff with Judith's office and been told that she's all over it. So we'll let the proper process go through, but also let's be completely clear that this is a government which has issued a circular from Cabinet, the highest edict there really is in a government. We do public services based on need, not race, and we expect everyone in the government to follow that.
What can Judith Collins do about it?
Well, ultimately she's responsible, along with Cabinet, for the appointment of the Solicitor General. I would think that at the very least she'd be asking how has the Cabinet circular on need, not race, been incorporated into this prosecutorial guideline, and perhaps how does it comport with a few other important things such as the Bill of Rights, which says you can't be discriminated against. So, there's a few questions, and to be honest, if you know Judith Collins, it's probably not a meeting I'd want to be in.
Is the Solicitor General's position independent in the same way that the judiciary is independent?
Well, put it this way: if it comes down to a particular prosecution, I would be the first to scream blue murder about a politician trying to get involved in whether a person should be prosecuted. However, when it comes to underlying principles, what did the people of New Zealand vote for? They voted for a government that would stop the increasing embedding of a culture where racial discrimination is seen as not only acceptable but perhaps desirable. People voted to eradicate that attitude from our government. I think recent events have shown it's quite deeply embedded, and we're here to unembed it.
I'm just trying to understand just how independent this position is, because I understand that your judiciary is independent when they're sitting on the bench and they make their decisions. You guys can't climb in on that. But is it the same with the Solicitor General's edicts like this?
Well, again, I would leave that up to Judith in the way that she'd like to operate. But ultimately, the Solicitor General is the head of Crown Law, who are the government's lawyers. They're there to serve the government, and I'm sure Judith.
So not the same level of independence, then, David.
Well, I would have thought that the judiciary are a branch of government, along with the legislative branch, which is the Parliament. Yeah. Crown Law is part of the executive, which is us, those ministers in Cabinet and the Beehive.
Which is to say, like,
say, the Ministry of Education.
The Prime Minister freaking out this morning and saying, I can't do anything about it. He's actually wrong, because actually the AG, Judith Collins, can do something about this.
Well, I suspect it's a little bit like something that comes up frequently around the Reserve Bank. Very important to respect the independence of the Reserve Bank and their monetary policy decisions. But it's also true that ultimately we appoint the board, we ultimately appoint the governor, and we set the rules for them. So you can respect the autonomy and independence of an organisation, which I suspect is what Chris was getting at. But also be really clear that if people come to the belief that electing a government doesn't actually make any difference, because there's a whole lot of unelected people that will just do whatever they want, no matter how you vote or who you vote for, that's when you get a real breakdown of trust in democracy. So while obviously there's some complexity in the way that these officers and officers operate vis-a-vis elected politicians, at the end of the day, you're in charge, you vote for the government, and the government has to set the tone and make the calls, which I understand Judith Collins is going to do on her return.
Good luck with dealing with this lot, David. Appreciate it. David Seymour, leader of the ACT Party. Geez, it must get frustrating dealing with these public servants.